So like every modern woman, nobody wants to do more dishes than they have to. So with that in mind, Cody wanted her own dishwasher. So let's first of all talk about clearing the table and looking at the dishes that need to be cleaned. Some people might think this should go in the dishwasher. I have to beg to differ with you. What I would probably do first and foremost is take a paper towel. I would open up the garbage and I would scrape all of the obvious food off of there. And if there's anything that appears to be encrusted on the plate, I would rinse it to make sure that, okay, if water can rinse most of this off, I'm pretty sure really hot water and soap is gonna get the rest. But if it looks like it's really stuck, I might even give it a quick little brush. Because quite honestly, I'm not gonna wash that, but I'm gonna prepare it to be washed. And then I'm gonna set those prepared dishes aside and I'm going to open the dishwasher. So in the dishwasher, there is an upper and lower level. And in the lower level, I personally think about things and I go, if I used a frying pan today and it was encrusted with egg or other things, the likelihood of that getting really clean in the dishwasher is what I call slim to nil. Somebody's gonna probably end up having to go at it later with hot water and soap and give it a really good rub. Furthermore, these particular ceramic frying pans were not really intended for the dishwasher. They were intended to be washed clean right after they were used. So I'm gonna remove that. I also think that some large objects could impede this from going around. So this is where your water circulates to get your dishes clean. So I might put something like that if I felt it needed to be in the dishwasher on this level, and then watch to see whether it's going to clear, and again, so that this upper level could rotate properly. Let's take a look at some of the other devices that go in here. Spatulas and stuff. You might want to make sure you've taken maybe the edge of a knife, as like this as an example, scraped it to make sure that none of the eggs and things are still on it. And if you've gone that far, why not just wash it? Something to be really cautious of is when you're loading the dishwasher to have only one part of the dishwasher tray open at a time. Because if this was heavily loaded and you had this out and this out at the same time, it's too much weight and it's going to actually cause the dishwasher to tilt out of the frame and potentially crack the frame or break the dishwasher, one or the other. So I'd also, if there was space, I would leave that standing up. Be mindful of sharp objects that are going in the dishwasher. I would place them facing down. Knives particularly. Facing downward, because you do not want somebody to come along and reach in quickly to pull out things or to put something up against it and cut themselves. All right? Okay, so we're now going to put this plate in. I have a tendency to like to load things in order of size, front to back. So I maybe, line those things up. I have also a tendency to place cups just because I think it makes sense to place cups on the upper, bowls and plates on the lower, and again, try to have some kind of order to that. And keeping in mind size. And I like to, when I'm loading and unloading, I'm thinking about where it's going in the cupboard and ease of unloading. So I'm like, okay, boom, cupboard, gone. Really simple. I'm not kind of getting a plate here, a bowl there, thinking's there. It's all easy and systematic and allows the most amount of water to circulate around to clean the dishes efficiently. Again, going to larger devices like bowls, like this size, I'd probably load them so that we're economizing the space. But if you're already going to wash a couple of things, I would tend to wash the bigger bowls by hand, get them dried up and put away. All right? Again, for the cups, I'm a little bit of an anal and it's a standard that I was taught by my mom and my dad. Kind of line things up because I like to think about how they went in easily is how they're going to come out. So it just makes sense to me. Don't necessarily know that we would want to wash that little doodad in there because it's a little measuring cup for her ionics, and it might very easily melt in the dishwasher. But it's always thinking about ease of operation, spacing, so you're maximizing your space as effectively and efficiently as you can. And also the the material that things are made of. This looks like a little coffee filter. So we'll just kind of stick that on one of those little things, okay. And one more knife going back in here, close the door. I probably would have closed this door, but I'm leaving it open right now because you can see some residue that's left in the dishwasher from food that's been still on her plates or bowls, etc. So I'm gonna go back in here and Code, I need to kneel down. I'm not praying for you, but I will do that later. And there's a liner here, but there's also a filter basket here, and it's got a lock and an unlock position. So we want to unlock it and pull it out. And you can see there's a lot of goo and guck on there. So I'm going to just set that up onto the counter. And there is also a filter of some sort here. Let me see, right in here. That my friend just showed me how to take out, but I forget how to do it, right here. So it just lifts up and off. And you can also see all that residue that's built up on here. Kind of gungy, but I'm gonna just set it up there. And then if you come closely, you'll see that there's quite a bit of food that's sitting in and around here. Don't know if we have enough light to see that, but I'm gonna take some paper towel and we're gonna first wipe that and we might want to have our garbage handy depending on how much is here. But first and foremost, roll up your sleeves, get in there, and never ever do this when the dishwasher has just been on because it's going to be hot, folks. And there are some sharp edges, so be careful that you don't cut yourself when you're doing this. And I would probably wipe down some of it. I'm going to put that back in just while I clean. Again, pumpkin seeds, I think. And I'm going to first give it a wipe with the paper towel. Code, this is grossness 101. See? And then I'm going to clean it off. If that was really heavy, quite frankly, I'd be soaking it in the sink to get it cleaned well enough before I would reuse it. And you can see, because if this filter is really full, you're not going to have clean dishes. And that just makes sense, I think. Cody's water gets quite hot, so be careful that you don't burn yourself. It's not above regulation temperature or anything. It wouldn't cause a burn, but it might be more, warmer than what you're accustomed to. So just be mindful of that. And if in doubt, throw a bit of dish soap onto it and clean it. But I think that's in pretty good shape to replace it. Now this other lovely thing, that's another matter. You can see the food wrapped in and around it. It's not so pretty. Right in here. I'm going to put this plug in the sink to rinse this off because I want to be able to, and you know what, if you're grossed out with this kind of stuff, put a pair of gloves on. Not a big deal. You don't have to touch it with your own hands. It doesn't really bother me. So I'm going to just do a little bit of soap on it. Wash the surface. Hey Code, how are you over there, hun? Just helping keep your space nice and clean, your home nice and clean. Because a clean home and a safe home is what I know is important to you. And honestly, there might be times that you would have to soak this. And every now and then, the dishwasher should be run on empty with just either CLR or vinegar. I got kind of nails that work really well for stuff like this, but it is pretty grungy. That's why I'm gonna give it a bit of a, and don't over scrub it because you don't want to break the mesh. You just want to kind of loosen it up enough so it'll break loose in the water. And this is something to maybe put on the rotation of cleaning about, I would say, minimum once every 2 weeks, maybe the 1st and the 15th of the month, or the 5th and the 20th or something, that it can be added to Cody's home maintenance list. And we'll see an improvement in the way that her dishes come out of the dishwasher. So while we're cleaning these things, we could be running her dishwasher on empty. I think we're pretty good shape now. A lot of the residue is gone. Clean as a whistle, so to speak. And you can see that lock and unlock. So we're just going to go and place this first. There we go. So that's sitting in there secure. Move the rotator out of the way. Place this in. Hold on a second. I need to make sure that's in place. And a little bit of fidgeting with it to get it in the right position, to make sure it's all the way down. And it's starting to go into position there, into lock, I believe. Okay, close the door. And if you notice a lot of grunge and grime in here, just give it a wipe with a paper towel on the top of the door frame as well. You'll notice sometimes it gets built up. That's just, you know, again, good maintenance of Cody's personal property. And if this was full and ready to go, I would load it, or sorry, I would take laundry soap from in here, 1 tub, and place it in here in the drawer. I also have a dishwasher rinse that we can fill this cup up when it's empty, and I don't believe Cody has any here right now, so I'll have to replenish that supply, put that on her grocery list. It's not a must-have, it's just a nice-have. It does help to keep things clean. All right, Code. All right, put this away, close the door, and I'm gonna just check the sink, because if there was a lot of residue on there, I'm going to drain it, but I'm also then going to take paper towel and wipe it out so that it's not going into the sewers. And yeah, you can see. So what I do then, again, more paper towel. Take it, give it a quick wipe, and release it back here. There's no real mess in the sink. And then off we go to the garbage. All right, so that's the dishwasher. All right, so you can often see dishes that have been overheated on the stove. And when they get overheated on the stove, they get burns and pit marks in the bottom. I have to tell you, these are probably 30 years old and they've lasted a long time. But if the stove's too hot, you're gonna bake food on there, and the only way you're gonna get it off is if maybe you put dishwashing detergent in there, water, and you boil it on the stove to release that. Or we're going to make sure that when we're cleaning it, these kinds of things do need a scrub. They're going to need a scrub. So how in the world would the dishwasher ever clean the things that need to be scrubbed off of the bottom of a pot? It wouldn't. So that's why let's be mindful of those things, scrub them before, and just finish the job off. Again, you'll also get a rim of things that will form on the side of the pots when you're boiling vegetables, etc. So we want to make sure we give it a really good scrub. And if necessary, soak them in hot water in the sink for a while so that extra residue is going to come off more easily when you are ready to wash the dishes. So I'm going to just pile those in there. And these were already cleaned, but another area that Cody has a toaster oven. Code, we like our toaster oven to be nice and clean. You'll see this has been, a lot of heat and residue. The glass surface is in pretty good shape, but things like this. So and you should never line a toaster oven tray with tin foil. No, I didn't realize that, but you shouldn't. But things that get baked on like that, before that happens, I would recommend that, like that sink full of hot water, you just let them soak. Take the time. Soaking doesn't cost anything extra. It takes a lot of the labor away and makes the job a lot more simple and enjoyable. All right, Cody's dishes. Once the dishwasher is emptied, again, cups and drinking glasses and bowls and plates in here. Her cutlery and sharp knives and serving spoons in here. Butcher knives. Again, be mindful of other people. Always turning blades down and always turning blades inward so that somebody is not going into the drawer and potentially cutting themselves. And spoons in here. Always blades in the same direction so people know when they're reaching in that they don't have to be surprised by sharp knives. And then some of her other devices that she uses, measuring spoons, extra things are in here. The stove top and the microwave. Sure, we could talk about the microwave. Again, Cody, very rarely, it's not something that we like her to use, but it is something that's available for support team to use, is the microwave. You can see that something was clearly heated too high when it's got a lid that has been melted. So be mindful of that. That is something that could have caught on fire. So be careful. We don't want anyone burned. And we also want to keep it in a really clean state so that when somebody else comes along, they're not the one that has to deal with your mess. So make sure the tray is always nice and clean, that there's never any oily things on the surface because they could catch fire as well, that all of the parts are nicely cleaned inside, on the top, along the sides, and on the bottom. And then the tray fits in. There's little grooves here that fit in to make sure that it lines up and rotates properly. I just have to get them to fit. You can tell I don't use my microwave hardly ever. Not my favorite appliance. Oh, so we've got it secure in there. And just for ease of storage, I place that in there. And keep your foods covered, heats it faster if you so choose. And again, it prevents some of the splatter. And keeping the surfaces wiped down. Just a damp cloth is good, but the stove top. And you can see there's a lot of pitting now on this beautiful ceramic tile or ceramic stove that often occurs because of too much heat. And too much heat that's then melting the pans, and particularly frying pans seem to be the one that gets too high of heat. And so there is, you can see some of this, I'm able to scrape it off with my fingernail. So if I can scrape it off with my fingernail, then there's an indication it could be cleaned a little bit more. But there is a specific cleaner for this kind of surface, and I'm not sure that Cody has some right now, but just be mindful of temperature and be mindful of the size of the diameter of the pot that you're using. So if you're using a pot with this size diameter, you're not going to put it on this burner. You're going to put it on a burner that is smaller so that you're not using more heat than you need to heat up the surface of the pot. Okay? Aha! We have the cleaner. Aha! It's called Ceramabrite, and you just use a little bit, follow the instructions. It can be irritating to your skin, so follow the instructions. And oftentimes you need to allow it to sit for a while, and then you work the surface, but you can then shine it up nicely. And there's also a stainless steel cleaner that we can use to wipe down the surface of the stainless fronts, etc. So there you go. And so this is usually found under Cody's sink. Keep in mind that Cody's nieces and nephew come over, and these can be an irritant for children. So they're inquisitive. So let's just find it under here along with the CLR and other things for cleaning. What did you ask me, hun?
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Code. How are ya? You're doing such a great job, hun.